Om Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadrutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Sadam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanditam Gurave Gaurachandaya Radhikaya Stadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Vande Guru Padadandam Bhakta Vrinda Samanitam Sri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande Nityananda Sahoditam Sri Nandanandanang Vande Radhika Charanadvayam Gopi Jana Samayuktam Vrindavano Manoharam Devam Dibbatanum Suchanda Badanam Balarka Chelanchitam Chandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Sarashatanam Varam Vande Tang Subhadam Madeka Sharanam Nyashisharam Sridham Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Again. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So right now, as you know, we are in Rishikesh, one of the most holy places situated in the hills, situated in the foothills of the holy Himalayas. I repeat, Rishikesha is known to be one of the most holy places situating in the Himalayan foothills. So much, carrying so much memories of many great yogis, rishis, saintly people who came over here, settled, absorbed in yoga practices and meditations. Purpose of which was to attain the realization of the Supreme Divine Lord. So being situated in the Himalayan foothills, this place is known to be the gateway of Chota Char Dham, Char Dhamas, Kedarnath, Badrinath, Gangotri, Jamunotri. You already know about all this. So, in other words, it is the starting point for the pilgrimage tour over these 4 Dhamas, Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, Jamunotri. Rishikesha, the place Rishikesha, has been named after our glorious Lord Vishnu. It straightly translates. The Rishikesha, the word Rishikesha directly translates into Rishikesha, the Lord of the senses. The Lord, a divine Master Lord of our senses. Meaning, the divine Master Lord, Supreme Lord, by whose potency our senses, such as abilities of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, all being activated. Abilities, all these senses being possible, being empowered. That is Rishikesha. Meaning, deeply meaning, the supreme object or subject, supreme goal of all our perception, all our higher perceptions, subjective, super subjective perceptions. Who is that? Lord Vishnu, the Rishikesha, the Lord Rishikesha. One of the meaningful definitions of the names of Lord Vishnu as Rishikesha, Rishikesha. We all know, without the ability of our perception, we are nothing. We are nobody, nothing. We do not have any self-identity, any functions of feeling, thinking, willing, or even existence. We don't have the perception. How do you know that we are existing? So, most of our identifications on this plane, even on the higher plane, is validated by our perceptions. In other words, feelings of our being, feelings realized into our own beings, own existence, in relation to the supreme universal being, supreme divine, absolute being. So perception plays a big role. Can you imagine? Someone without eyes, ear, taste, touching ability, or smelling. What is he or she? Won't have any identity. Can't feel. Just can have some only feelings, but it's so limited. So limited. One cannot be defining one's own self, cannot really understand who is he or she, own existence, without the faculties of the senses, the perceptions. Back to the point of Rishikesha. It has been stated, it has been told by some saintly people, some some monks, saintly monks that are devotees, that there was a great rishi called Raivasa. He's a great worshipper of Lord Vishnu. So he did a lot of tapasya on this holy place Rishikesha to receive the darshan of Lord Vishnu. He actually engaged in painstaking tapasya, holy penance, to attain the darshan of Lord Vishnu. And he became successful. Lord Vishnu could not stay away from him due to his great determination, great commitment, with great determination to see him, to receive his darshan. At some point, Lord Vishnu now appeared before that Raivasa Rishi, letting him have his divine darshan, and his joy, his bliss became so overwhelming after having darshan, Lord Vishnu. He felt so fulfilled thereafter. This place Rishikesh also imbued with that memory of the Lord Vishnu's appearance before Rishi Raivasa, being so attracted by his devotion towards him to receive his darshan. And he was very pleased to give him his darshan. Thus, this place also imbued with the memory of devotional worships of Rishi Raivas. I don't exactly remember the name, Raivasa or something. Okay. His worships of Lord Vishnu. Also, 5 Pandavas are believed to have lived here before going to heaven, before their final journey to the heaven. I repeat, 5 Pandavas are also believed to be staying here, to be living here for some time, engaged in worshipping Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Divine, and then they took their journey upward through the Himalayas towards the heavenly planets, physically and spiritually. Such journey was defined physical way, but more than physical way, spiritual way. Because heaven could not be attained just physically in a material sense. But it is the entity of heaven is of another dimension, non-material, supramundane dimension. So, question may arise, through which way, how they attained heaven. Yudhishthira Maharaj, of course, 4 of them, including Draupadi, left their material body before reaching the heaven, left their material body behind in this plane before reaching heaven. They finally reached heaven by their spiritual body, soul identity. Only King Yudhishthira was blessed, was specially empowered to reach the heaven with his physical body. Exception was made by some laws of Supreme Divine, exceptional by exceptional rule and law. So sometimes we find different exceptional rules, regulations and laws in the nature, arranged by the higher will, organized, arranged by the higher will of the Supreme Divine. It was done in case of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He was let, he was allowed to reach heavenly planet along with a dog who was none other than Dharmaraj, Jamaraj, in the disguise of a dog, yes, to directly reach the heavenly planet with physical body. But other than that, all others of the Pandavas, 4 Pandavas including Draupadi, they had to leave their material body behind before finally reaching heaven. Rishikesha. So again, this place has always attracted great Rishi, Muni, Yogis to come over here, settle and be absorbed in worshipping the Supreme God more through meditations, more through yoga practices and meditations, through Jnana Marga, also Paramatma Marga, Yoga Marga, and some of them also became a great follower of the Bhakti Marga, the supreme, the highest, the super excellent, all transcending, best path to relate to the Supreme Divine, Bhakti Marga, Prema Marga, the greatest, glorious path, because it's a path of worshipping the Supreme Divine, Supreme Absolute, beautiful God, Supreme Absolute Reality, through love and devotion, through ecstatic love and devotion, taste, more than, or accommodating within the functions of Jnana and Yoga, not excluding those, but including, accommodating within the paths of the Jnana and the Yoga. I often point out through my lectures, many of the Krishna devotees, the great devotees of Krishna, also great yogis. For example, like Navayogendra, Sukadeva Goswami. And even Kapil Deva, none other than an incarnation of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, also advised us. The Sankhya Yoga, but which is very favorable, very, very congenial to the path of devotion to Krishna. That kind of yoga, or Sankhya Yoga, advised by Kapila Muni, Kapila, incarnation of the Lord. Kapila Muni, another Kapila is incarnation of the Lord, the son of Devahuti Kardama Rishi. So the kind of yoga he advised to all of us, congenial to life of devotion, congenial to Bhakti Yoga, life of Bhakti Yoga. Prema Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is understood to be the all fulfillment, to be the highest fulfillment of all of these paths, Jnana Yoga and Yoga Yoga. Because all the Jnana means realization of Supreme God through knowledge and consciousness, and Yoga Yoga, realization of the Supreme Being, Supreme, Infinite, Absolute, as all-pervading Super Soul, mostly through meditations, feelings and meditations, deep meditations, are all finally fulfilled in the realizations and experience, divine experience of the ecstatic love of God. Ecstatic love of God and loving service to God, having loving relationship with the same supreme, absolute, beautiful, divine reality. No matter. Gyanis call that as Brahma or Parama Brahma, Yogis call it Paramatma. They all culminate, simply be culminating in the Krishna conception of the supreme, absolute, divine, beautiful truth. That's how we need to realize. That's how Srila Sukadeva Goswami meant while he uttered that verse, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdati Badanti Tattavidam Stattam Yajganam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdati. Who was Sukadeva Goswami? None other than a greatly realized devotee, realized person, top wise nature, top yogi nature. I repeat, who was Sukadeva Goswami? None other than the devotee, the great saintly personality of the Parama Brahma, top class Parama Brahma, Parama Yoga realization. Many devotees say that was the foundational identity of Sukadeva Goswami in the first place. First, he was a great Jnani, super excellent Jnani and super excellent Yogi, and from those levels, from those states, he became irresistibly attracted to the world of devotion to Krishna upon hearing beautiful, wonderful Krishna Leela, glories of Lord Krishna. Through the compositions of his own great father, Vyasadeva. So, foundational in the first place, very first place, he was among the greatest yogis, greatest Jnanis and greatest yogis. In other words, Sukadeva Goswami Prabhu was among the best of Jnanis and best of yogis with so much realizations, not just only in principle, not just in theoretical principle, but with realizations. In other words, he was kind of great embodiment of the knowledge of the divine, infinite knowledge, and a yogic perception, experience of the Supreme Divine. And from that level he was transcending. That level he transcended to the level of ecstatic love of Krishna, blissful love of Krishna. His heart, mind, heart, soul all got irresistibly, helplessly attracted to the unlimited beauty qualities, fragrance, attraction of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. In other words, the Supreme, Absolute, Beautiful, Divine Being. And he could not but embrace, blissfully embrace that. And also got embraced, became embraced by that ecstatic love realizations, ecstatic love experience, and its attraction, its connection with the Krishna, in relation to Krishna. And that's what he sweetly, very straightly, clearly, joyfully described through his own expression in Srimad Bhagavatam. Parinishthitopi nairgunne uttama slokali laya grihita cheta rajarshi akyanam yad adhitavam. Parinishthitopi nairgunne uttama slokali laya grihita cheta rajarshi akyanam yad adhitavam. O noble king, O great king Parikshita, let me tell you about some truthful experience, my great experience of my life. See, in the beginning, I was so deeply established, deeply absorbed, certain, established, Parinishthitopi, Noirgunne, established in the Parama Brahma conception of the Supreme Divine. Noirgunna means the Parama Brahma conception, the impersonal energy conception of the Supreme Divine through knowledge and power. Our experience of all pervading knowledge, power and beauty, and that Parama Brahma conception, and some blissfulness. Uttama sloka, and from that state, from that my level, Uttama sloka leelaya grihita cheta rajarshi, from that state of my consciousness, where I was thinking, was fulfilled with nectarine experience. Even from that state of consciousness, all of a sudden, my heart, mind, heart, soul, my whole of mine became irresistibly attracted towards hearing the beautiful, wonderful, blissful pastimes of that Supreme Divine known as Krishna. Uttama sloka leelaya. My mind, heart and soul were irresistibly, helplessly attracted by that. And I became simply sunk, absorbed, overwhelmed with some special taste of nectarine happiness what I never had before. Special taste of ambrosial joy, experience what I never had before. Unprecedented, wonderful, unprecedented joy. The divine. Uttama sloka leelaya grihita cheta. Rajarshi, O noble king, akyanam yad adhitavan. Now, I am going to tell you about that Supreme He, Supreme He, super excellent, transcending He, super excellent he or she, the divine. And I was made, and thereafter, after my mind and heart, soul all became so much attracted by the beauty, power, blissfulness, qualities of the Supreme He. And I was made to be reading, studying more about Him. And the more I did that, studied, I became overwhelmed and overwhelmed. Became so overwhelmed. My whole existence became inundated. The divinely illuminated nectarine taste and experience by reading, hearing about that Krishna Leela. And I am going to tell you about that now. And that Sukadeva Goswami was described, he was holding a state of the knowledge at that time when he was in the assembly of King Parikshita. Or he was always like that. He was always situated in a position of the knowledge, all-pervading knowledge, which was unlimited. He was called as Akuntha Medhasam. Akuntha Medhasam means Medha. Medhasam means the owner of the knowledge, that of Akuntha, unlimited character. That of Akuntha Vaikuntha, character, unlimited character. That was Sukadeva Goswami. Like anybody asked him any question, he could answer. He was so connected with all the dimensions and frequencies of all the unlimited knowledge of the universal being, supreme divine. It was not his creation. It was not his creation. He was actually accepted by the supreme, absolute divine in that way. So Sukadeva Goswami simply became a vehicle, a conduit, how do you say? A great vehicle, a representation of that absolute, supreme, absolute reality, the divine, transcending of all transcendental character. So that made Sukadeva Goswami to become his or her representative at that time. And he was surcharged. He was completely empowered by the supreme, absolute, beautiful divine at that time. To speak about the glory, of also his personal Leela, glories, qualities, excellence of the supreme he or supreme hers sees personal nectarine pastimes beyond just only conception of the energy form of the knowledge. There, the highest culminations of the energy form of knowledge in the form of loving emotion, love feelings, energy of love feelings, love emotions manifested. You see? The character of our feelings, emotions, moods also found more or less impersonal energy form, in the form of thought. imagination, thoughts, feelings. But we should understand all those thoughts and feelings and emotions have no real play, no real relevance if they don't have its own subject to relate to. They don't have its own goal, own supreme object or subject to relate to reciprocate to. So therefore, impersonal conception of emotions, mood, feelings cannot truly exist in fulfilled way without its own beloved subject, beloved object to lovingly relate to with deep love, tangible, something more tangible. Reality, experience of reality, not only energy form, but also personal form, in a very subjectively objective, tangible way. Tangible way, as beloved, whom you can touch, relate to, embrace, feel, taste your love relationship with, personal way. Then all the concepts, see, all the conception of impersonal emotion, mood and love feelings, all feeling, thinking, willing, gets fulfilled when it has got supreme subject, supreme object, the beloved, to relate to reciprocate with. To be embraced by that and be embraced. to be embraced by that and be, how do I say? To embrace that and be embraced by that. To blissfully embrace that and be embraced by that. So therefore, the highest God conception, the highest conception, the supreme absolute reality must be in combination with both, impersonal and personal way. In unison, through a harmonious union. Dual ways, non-dual ways. Both are harmonized together. The highest conception of this supreme absolute truth. Full with all wonders, beauty, power, blissfulness, knowledge, everything. So, best ways, here you have to note, really the best ways, the best manifestations, best fulfillment of all our feeling, thinking, willing, moods and emotions are found in tasting, relating to the supreme absolute divine Krishna, the most beautiful, the most wonderful, the most powerful, the most blissful, most knowledgeful, on the top of everything most beautiful and blissful. Krishna conception of the Supreme. Because all our energy form of feelings, thinking, willing, emotions, feelings of love, finds its highest fulfillment supreme fulfillment in connection with Krishna Leela. Tasting Krishna Leela. Personal. To relate to the highest, unlimited, personal conception of the same supreme, all-pervading Parama Brahma Paramatma. It's first class, highest conception called Krishna, called belovedly called Krishna, the highestly beautiful personal form of unlimited nature, supremely beautiful, powerful personal form of the supreme absolute reality of unlimited nature. Gauri. This has been one of the places to engage in that kind of business, transcendental business, to relate to the Supreme Divine. So, Rishikesha means the Lord of the senses, our loved Lord of the senses, loved Master of the senses. Question will naturally arise. How can we engage? How can we relate to the Supreme Lord, beloved Lord of all our precious senses, functions of perceptions? That would be a wonderful question. So we need to know practical way. See, the loved, the beloved Lord or object of our eyes means sight, of our ear means hearing, of our smell means having the fragrance, experience of fragrance. An object of nose means, in other words, the object of fragrance, smelling fragrance. Smelling fragrance, supreme object of our taste, I should say tongue, supreme object of our tongue, from the broader perspective of our taste, and that of our touch, supreme object or subject of our touch perception. Touching, it has to be understood in a broader perspective, not just simple touching, but it's much more than that. The kind of touching, the quality of touching which brings so much pleasure, deep pleasure, sensual pleasure. It means that kind of touching also. So, Panchendriya, Chakshu, Karna, Nashika, Jihva, Ta. 5 senses. And there are also 2 more prominent senses beyond these 5 senses. We call 6th or 7th sense. 6th or 7th sense. Beyond the dimensions of the perception received by only 5 senses, 6 or 7 senses considered beyond, but related to the perception, faculty of perception, which is conducted by 5 senses. So this 6 or 7 sense more close to spirituality. Spiritual perception, kind of spiritual vision, perception. Sometimes the scientists explain sixth or seventh sense in a non-spiritual manner, a subtle material way, but we don't pay much importance, we don't give much importance to that sort of definitions. Rather we take dimension of sixth and seventh sense more close to spirituality, spiritual perception. Not purely spiritual realm, but it is favorable to connect us to those subtle spirituality, including all these functions of the 5 types of perception, not excluding. See, now the Rupa Goswami Prabhu beautifully described, wonderfully described through Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, through this verse, Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesham Sevanam bhaktirucchati. He guided us, directed us about how to engage, how to devotionally engage in the services of the Lord Rishikesha, the Lord of all our perceptive abilities, Lord empowering all our perceptions. So Rupa Goswami Prabhu very nicely guided us. I am not going into the details explanation of that verse, it will be taking time. Certain portion of this verse, such as Tat Parattena Nirmalam, is very, very meaningful. Our nature of our perception should be so holy, pure, purified, being in connection, having our centralized interest of this loving service to the Supreme, loving service to the God. In other words, let me explain. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam. First of all, be transcending all the limited obligations, dual obligation, limited, different types of all limited relative obligations, duties of your life. They are all upadhis, they are all known to be upadhis. There are so many little relative limited obligations in our life, in living our life in different time, place, situations, without any connection of the Absolute, without any connection of the Supreme, Absolute Divine. So, first of all, we should get rid of all those upadhis, limiting, conditioning upadhis. We should get rid, we should go beyond, be liberated from all those upadhis which condition us different relative ways, according to different time, place, situations. Then, thereafter, and do that, do everything in your life while you are liberating yourself from all those, freeing yourself from all those limited relative conditionings, different kinds of conditionings, mundane conditionings. Do that with the best purity of your purpose, best purity of your interest. And that is only connecting with Krishna, relating to Krishna, lovingly serving Krishna. That should be our central interest. Not only central interest, our whole self, a central and holistic, full-fledged interest of life. Accepting everything in connection with the interest of Krishna, also rejecting everything if it is required to satisfy the same interest, to promote the same interest. All the acceptance and rejections in the devotee's life should be decided, defined, concluded by the interest of Krishna, by our interest of service to Krishna, connection with Krishna, being in love with Krishna, falling in love with Krishna. And after falling in love with Krishna, then being, continuing, infinitely and unlimitedly, eternally continuing in ecstatic love with Krishna. That's the highest purpose of liberation. Highest purpose of liberation finds all its culmination in the attainment of infinite ecstatic love of Krishna. Relating, having loving relation with Krishna, flowing in that eternal. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparattena nirmalam. So, all our intention must be very pure in connection with Krishna, by connection with Krishna, only to satisfy the interest of pleasing Krishna, lovingly serving Krishna. And that's how our mind, heart, soul all should be completely pure. That's how we should become very pure with that purest intention of engaging in love service to Krishna, pleasing Krishna. Tat parattena nirmalam. The next line, Rupa Goswami saying, Rishikena Rishikesham. By all your senses, be engaged in serving the Lord of all your senses. Utilize all your senses in serving the beloved Master, Lord of all your senses, by which all your senses are empowered. That is called bhakti. Sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Rishikena Rishikesham. Sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Serving, lovingly serving the Supreme Divine Lord, Supreme Beloved Lord, by your senses. I repeat, lovingly serving the Supreme Beloved Lord of all your senses by engaging all your senses, called bhakti. Is one of the definitions of bhakti, pure loving devotion. Rishikena Rishikesham Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Be engaged in loving service, lovingly serving the Supreme Object, Lord of all your senses, by utilizing, by making the highest utility of all your senses, engaging all your senses. No, question can naturally come. Answer is very simple. Answer can be realized in a simple, very straight, self-effulgent manner. And if we do not want to understand, make arguments and all, how to do that, how to engage all our senses in the service of the Lord of senses, then the answer will be very difficult to realize, depending on our attitude, temperament, on our intention. Engage yourself. See, just as how to serve the Supreme Lord by all our senses, such as engage our seeing, engage the faculty of our seeing, utilize the faculty of our seeing to visualize the beautiful form of the Lord, and even envision the beauties of the qualities and lila of the Lord. Not only formal beauty, beauty of the form, but beauty of the qualities and playfulness of the Lord. So, I repeat, like engaging our eyes in seeing the beauty of Krishna. Like seeing a beautiful portrait of Krishna, beautiful portrait of Krishna, form of Krishna, beautiful deity of Krishna. Also, seeing through the inner vision and a certain kind of transcendental vision, wonderful vision of Krishna through devoted meditations, as it will be revealed through our devotional, innermost devotional meditations. So here's process of seeing including both. Seeing of Krishna, seeing Krishna outwardly through our outward eyes and also through inner eyes. Seeing Krishna's beauty, Krishna's divine form, beauty, and qualities, and the leelas through these eyes, if we are so lucky that way, to see Krishna with our outer eyes, bodily eyes, and also seeing the inner heart's eyes, both ways. A great pure devotee, when a great pure devotee standing before a beautiful portrait of Krishna, a beautiful deity of Krishna, having a darshana, is not only having a darshana of the outer form of the deity of Krishna, beautiful form of the deity form of Krishna or portrait form of Krishna, but also is becoming so absorbed in the innermost way through the inner love feelings. He starts visioning the beauty of Krishna also through his loving contemplations, loving devotional meditations while watching, seeing a portrait of Krishna, beautiful deity form of Krishna. Their vision, their seeing of Krishna's deity or Krishna's portrait, beautiful portrait form, never remains only confined within that level. They go further and deeper and higher. They start spiritually, more spiritually, divinely, inwardly, more also subjectively, visualizing Krishna's divine beauty and form instantly. So when we are seeing Krishna, seeing beauty of Krishna, this seeing, conception of seeing, is understood in objective sense and subjective sense. both ways. Like we see, like seeing means finding, means philosophical concept. This is my finding. That's how I see the truth. Yeah, seeing doesn't mean only seeing with these eyes. Seeing means realizing also to the visions of the truth. Receiving the revelation, receiving the divine revelations of the truth of Krishna through visual, through sight form, through sight, visual way. So, back to the point. So, engaging our eyes, function of seeing, okay, function of seeing to relate to Krishna, connect with Krishna's beauty and qualities. We should be engaging our seeing and sight to take care of Krishna's temple, surrounding of Krishna's temple. We should have our eyes, we should engage our eyes to look into or taking care of Krishna's property, Krishna's temple. As we look around, protecting Krishna's, taking care of Krishna's property in our temple life, devotional life, in Krishna Samsara. In this way. So we should utilize our eyes and our sight function to take care of everything in the interest of Krishna. Not only directly seeing Krishna, looking at Krishna, but also looking after his service, interest, looking after all his properties in Krishna Samsara, Krishna family life, such as holy temple, looking into publishing holy literature, spiritual literatures, okay, which also is another form of Krishna in the form of holy scriptures, narrating the glories of Krishna. Should have the very caring eyes all around to be protective, looking after Krishna's property and anything belonging to the service of Krishna. Looking at the devotees, to look after the devotees, not just seeing the devotees. Looking at the devotees, to look after the devotees, taking care of the devotees. When we're doing the pilgrimage too, we're enjoying the other forms of Krishna, universal forms of Krishna, through our vision and sight. It's also another form of looking at Krishna, another way to engage our eyes, to relate to Krishna, in connection with Krishna. That's what we also did in certain ways during our holy pilgrimage too. We looked at and appreciated the majestic beauty of Krishna, supreme, all-pervading, absolute reality, through his universal form, through the portions of his universal form, parts of universal form. The majestic beauty of Himalayas, greatness and majestic visions, views. And also by relating to, touching Mother Ganga, relating to Mother Ganga in the water form, another form of Krishna, the form of Krishna's holy feet wash water, another form of Krishna. So he related to all this to the path of sight, through our eyes. good example of how to engage our eyes to look at Krishna, to see Krishna in different ways, different forms. See, one of the great utilities of our eyes to look at Krishna devotees, just as I am doing now. Looking at and into Krishna devotees. To take care of them and be cared by them, both ways. So, looking at and into Krishna devotees about how they are hearing the topics of Krishna and releasing it. We also utilizing our eye sense in the service of Krishna in that way. I am doing that also. Looking at the devotees. Another way. One of the ways. So, see, my way of lecture is always analytical. It's full of thorough analysis. So looking at the devotees and being looked at. While I am looking at the devotees are also looking at me. I am also being looked at. Both ways is the utility of the sight in connection with Krishna. Next, Chakshu Karna. It's needless to mention further how we can utilize our ear, function of audition, hearing, in relation to Krishna, in connection with Krishna. What we are doing right now, one of the great examples. We have engaged our ear, giving our ear to hearing about Krishna, narration of the glories of Krishna. One of the best ways to utilize function of our hearing in connection with Krishna. And not only that, hearing many other things to take a good decision in favor of Krishna's interest, favor of the interest of Krishna. That's also included. Hearing the sweet devotional songs, devotional musics, love songs of Krishna Radhika, hearing the glorification, hearing the narration of the glories of Krishna Radhika, and be absorbed into its taste. And hearing all that with that kind of temperament, that kind of feelings, so that that hearing can reproduce of the function of another hearing by others. When you do this Sravanam, when you properly, attentively hearing about Krishna, about the Siddhanta, knowledge about Krishna, Krishna Tattva, Krishna Leela, then you naturally, in the next moment at some point, you reproduce that, or not reproduce in a sense that you are in the position of controller, but you naturally feel inspired to speak that out what you heard, to propagate the same what you have heard. So it inspires us to engage in Kirtanam. After Savanam, then Kirtanam comes. The 9 limbs of the 9 devotional limbs, so starting with Savanam, then it takes us, it inspires us to engage in Kirtanam, means preaching, propagating, or narrating the glories of the same, narrating the same glories, what I have heard from the lips of the pure devotees, saintly devotees of Krishna. So that's how we also engage, utilize our ear to the best in the interest of Krishna. Not only hearing, but finally that hearing which is also inspiring the same devotee, the hearer, listener, devotee, to represent that in the form of narration of the glories of Krishna, what he or she heard, kirtana, speaking it, speaking out, chanting it, singing the glories. Singing the glories. Ultimately it becomes lovingly singing the glories of Krishna Radhika. So see how important this function of hearing. Hearing also represents, connects to the world of Shabda Brahma. So many holy mantras and hymns existing, manifesting in the world of hearing, in the world of divine hearing, transcendental hearing. Known as the world of Shabda Brahma, world of divine sound vibrations, divine musical vibrations, divine song vibrations, world of divine love songs of the Supreme Beloved, world of infinite world of divine love songs about the Supreme Beloved, Supreme Beloved divine. That's the full-fledged conception of the ecstatic embroid, ecstatic and nectarian world of Shabda Brahma. Ambrosial world of the Shabda Brahma, bringing so much nectarian fulfillment. Nectarian fulfillment in what? Which way? In love with the Supreme Beloved Divine. So here plays a big role, big function. Many great saintly personalities receive so much realizations, not through apparent seeing always, but through their audition, through their inner voice, superior voice, through the world of Shabda Brahma, holy mantras, many beautiful, wonderful hymns. They are not dead sound vibration. Sounds of the hymns, not like materially limited condition, mechanically conditioned, just bunch of sound vibrations. Meaningful. Each and every part of the hymns are so meaningful, impregnated with the meanings, and that makes it alive. Not just mechanical sound vibration caught by the recorder. But hymns means meaningful sound vibration. They're living, alive, because they're alive with feelings. Alive with feelings and realizations, taste. Like such as devotional love songs, blissful love songs of the Supreme Divine. So they all become such sound vibrations, become alive, full of life, full of taste, nectarine taste and experience. Just beyond any mechanical conception of the sound vibrations, material concept of just sound vibrations. I'm talking about that kind of sound vibration, shabda. So many great persons receive the realizations, had the revelation of the realizations through the path of sound. Sutekshita patha. I repeat, many great personalities had their realization through the revelation from the world of Shabda Brahma. One of the names of the Veda, Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, Srutekshita Patha. They, in many places, on many occasions, great realized personalities understood and saw. They actually have seen, understood the supreme reality through the path of hearing. Srutekshita Patha, through the path of hearing, to the path of knowing through hearing. And hearing the teachings from the great realized devotees. Many students, great devotee students, realize many things from their gurus by hearing from their mouths about the supreme truth. And thereafter they receive the vision. Thereafter they receive the revelation of higher vision about the supreme absolute truth in beautiful forms. In the forms of the form, in the forms of ecstatic, emotional love feelings, love experience of the same supreme divine, personally, same supreme divine, personal beauty, personal form. So thus, faculty of seeing and faculty of hearing inseparably interrelated. They complement each other. Function of the pure function of our dedicated hearing, respectful hearing, and the respectful way of seeing into the absolute truth, complementing each other, is relating to the same supreme absolute through sight form, through sound form. And when they come together, it becomes even wonderful. Unified vision, realization of the Lord, in which we can see, we can hear. We can see Krishna along with flute music. Samambonam utility, highest utility of all our hearing, to hear the flute music of Krishna. Love songs of Krishna sung by the divine damsels of the transcendental Braja, Goloka. Love songs of Krishna sung by the pure exalted devotees of Krishna. And by hearing those love songs, being absorbed into hearing those love songs of Krishna, Radhika, that is reproducing, revealing the further vision in beautiful form of Krishna, Radhika, in the language of Guru Maharaj. Sound function is getting translated into sight function. Function of audition, function of hearing getting translated into the function of sight, seeing. And the function of seeing, function of appropriate sight of Krishna also getting translated into sound function, hearing function, love songs of Krishna. See how they are interconnected, interrelated. So, first engaging our seeing in the service of Krishna, to connect with Krishna, how to engage our hearing to connect with Krishna. Chakhu Karna Nashika. how to engage our smelling function for Krishna. Simply smelling the fragrance of the lotus-like feet of Krishna. Smelling the fragrance of the beautiful lotus flower, understanding is none other than the smelling of Krishna, fragrance of Krishna in the form of lotus, given into the lotus, granted in the lotus flower, or any flower. When we are smelling the fragrance of beautiful roses, lotuses, or any other jasmine flower, we should be situated, should be doing that, situated in that frequency. I'm actually smelling the fragrance of Krishna in these ways, in these forms of the flowers. It is originally coming from Krishna, a part of the universal form, universal manifestation of Krishna, part of the Supreme Creator. A partly manifestation, fragrant manifestation of the Supreme Creator in the form of lotus, roses, jasmine, rajanigandha, many other beautiful, colorful, fragrant flowers. So while we smell the fragrance of those flowers in connection with Krishna, in Krishna consciousness, then we are relating to Krishna. We are engaging our smelling function, nose, to relate to Krishna. Connect with, cannot but be connecting with Krishna. Smear Krishna, the beautiful lotus feet of the beautiful deity of Krishna. Just simply be smearing with the pulp of chandana. Decorate. Be decorating the beautiful lotus feet of the deities of Krishna. Different pulp of chandra, pulp of sandalwood paste. How do you say? Yes. Into the sandalwood. And while after designing, after decorating Krishna's beautiful lotus feet, certain beautiful artwork with the pulp of chandana, beautiful design, pay pranam, pay loving obeisance, pay some obeisance to that Lord with full of love, be swooning to that lotus feet and receive the fragrance of the chandana decorated lotus feet of the deity of Krishna. Feel into your heart. You are actually smelling the fragrance of Krishna in the form of chandana, in the form of your own fragrant mood, your own fragrant sentiment, mood, emotion, to receive the fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet. Not just objectively smelling, but also smelling the fragrance subjectively. Both ways. Beautiful way. Many pure devotees do that in their life. They kiss the lotus feet of Krishna in the deity form, kissing it. And after wiping it with cleaning, smelling the fragrance. Krishna's lotus feet decorated with flowers and pulp of chandana. And they love it, connecting with Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. Much beyond the materially limited people, they'll think, oh, they have got very nice sentiments. Oh, sentimental being sentimental, nice sentimentalist. What is the big deal with that? They rather like to smell the alcohol, other drugs, or other things, or meat being cooked. I am so attracted. But not to the higher divine ways, they don't know. Unfortunate, very conditioned. They understand the importance of the smell of other things, but they don't understand the function of divine smells. Be filled with the divine fragrance of loving emotion with Krishna. They don't know. Makes so much difference. Our Guru Varga gave some examples, practical examples in relation to, in connection with this aroma and smelling. Once it so happened, two fishermen, two fisher, man and woman, just coming back to the house after selling the fishes in the market. They were just heading back to their house. On the way, they were faced with big storm, thunderstorm, rain, and they had to run to some place for finding shelter. So they had to run to find some shelter nearby, and there was a flower garden with a thatched house. There is flower garden, so they ran inside the flower garden, open flower garden, and took shelter in the thatched house inside the flower garden. Then at some point, both of them started vomiting because so much fragrance from the flower garden, they are not used to it. They could not take, because they never smelled the flower fragrance of the flower. They are always used to smell the fish. Okay, that was normal for them, tamasic, rajasic, tamasic people. So, at some point, due to so much fragrance of the flower, they felt like vomiting. And they literally started, great nausea, started vomiting up. And by that time, it was still raining. And one of them started vomiting, the other one was about to be vomiting by the fragrance of the flowers. They are thinking, what to do? What's the remedy? What's the remedy to such things? We are not used to smell the flowers. Suddenly it came in their mind. Some thought came in the mind. Okay, the best way that we cover our nose with the piece of cloth we used to cover the fishes, which has got so much fish smell. And that's what they did. And their vomiting stopped. And then they went out. Why such strong examples are given? Because those people who are so absorbed, helplessly controlled by the tamoguna, tamasic nature, okay, or tamasically rajasic nature, the situation is like that. They cannot take the higher fragrance. They cannot take the higher goods, higher benefits, higher, the superior good and superior feelings and taste experience in their life. Because they are not trained, they are not used to it. So they start criticizing without any knowledge, without any conception. They start criticizing the devotees. Okay. So ignorant, they don't know in the first place. We don't know anything of that. I have not experienced anything of that world, what we are trying to criticize or criticizing. But they are trying to judge things. They are trying to judge things of the higher world, things of the life of the higher people, saintly people, great realized souls from their limited level of tamoguna and rajaguna. And they are thinking, we are great scholars, we are realists, we are intellectuals. Proud, false pride, ultimately leading them to more tamoguna and tamoguna. So, we also find such people in the world who try to misjudge everything of the higher world without any qualification, being totally deluded, while they themselves are being in total delusion. Total delusion. Helplessly controlled by tamoguna or rajaguna. And they try to judge the level of sattva-guna, things of sattva-guna, and even higher than sattva-guna, visuddha sattva. For the sattvic people, if some sattvic people would have entered that flower garden, they would love the flower smell instead of vomiting. Love the flower smell. They would feel so much happy. Another example is like the pigs and Indra. You know that story. Indra of the heaven got cursed because of doing some misuses. Wrong activities, got cursed and was born into hog. The hog's level. At some point, the time has arrived. At some point for him to get rid of the hog's body and go back to the heaven. Brahmaji came, you know that story. Brahmaji remembered, out of great affection, out of great care and affection, to that Indra in the form of the hog. He came before him and said, "O pig, O king of the pig, head of the family pig, now your time has arrived to be liberated from your hog's body, pig's body, and go to the heaven. So I have come over here to advise you about that, to guide you about that. I feel a lot of affection. So that's why I have come. Get ready, be prepared to leave this material body of your hog and go back to heaven." And he was listening to Brahmaji and trying to understand what he was speaking, what he was talking about. He asked him, "What you are talking about? You want me to go to heaven? In the heaven, so much facilities available. Is so much facilities available. Here, I have got a lot of tasty food all around. Big family, my near and dear family members, children, lots of tasty food around. I do not have any lacking of food. If I go to heaven, same type of facilities will be available, a lot of tasty food like this, and my family, this kind of family members, and this kind of shelter where I am now living. See, look around, everybody, all around dirt, and I am happily living amidst the dirt, smelling the drainage dirt, and tasting and smelling that food. I am not naming what kind of food. All around. Similar type of facilities. And facilities available in the heaven. Brahmaji looked at. He understood. He is thickly covered by the hog's mentality, hog's consciousness. He did not understand anything. Brahmaji smiled at him. Smiled at the head of the family, who was so proud of being the head of the family of many hog children, proud of being owner of so much food all around, owner of having so much nice shelter. Shelter in the form of what? Slum dogs, how do you say? Slums. Full of dirt and everything. How do you call it? How do you throw all the garbage? And he was thinking, he was very proud. It's all mine. I am the king, ruler, nobody. See, I've got so much wealth. All around. He's so proud. Brahmaji smiled at. He said, you cannot even imagine how superior facilities, how much better facilities, better to best facilities are available in the heaven. This is nothing. This is so dirty and bad. Be prepared, leave your material body and come with me. He looked at Brahma. You consider me fool? I am so happy here with my family life, my children. I'm a responsible father or mother, with so much food and so much shelter. I'm like ruler here. In the garbage, over the garbage tap. I mean, all these things are not so described in such detail so as I am explaining. I'm explaining in my language. Kind of. I'm explaining. I'm not exactly quoting the story from the scripture, but I'm re-explaining with illuminations. See, you are saying that I will receive better facility in the heaven. At some point, Brahmaji got impatient. He understood it's useless. It's simply useless and pointless to talk to him, to make him understand, because he's so ignorant, he has no concept about the heavenly happiness. So then he became very cruel to be kind to him. Brahmaji just straight away he killed him. He killed that head of the pig, became cruel to be very kind to him. And thereafter, by Brahmaji's special grace, thereafter immediately he got back the form of the Indra. And he got back the consciousness. Immediately got back the consciousness, pure consciousness of the Indra with beautiful form. But he could still remember how he was arguing with Brahmaji in hog's body. And he started breaking in tears. Breaking in tears with loving gratitude. Respectable, very, very respectful, revered gratitude towards Brahma. You saved me. I could not understand. I was criticizing you, being thickly covered by my hog's consciousness, tamasic consciousness. I could not even understand what you are saying for my highest benefit. I was arguing with you. Please, please forgive me. Forgive my offenses. You saved my life. He fell flat with respectful obeisance to the Brahmaji with so much intensely respectful gratitude towards him to be saving his life. And then with him he went back to heaven. And he maintained immense loving gratitude, full of reverence towards Brahmaji all through his life. Why am I giving such examples? To differentiate, for making differentiations between the class of people who are so ignorant, whose intelligence, knowledge, ways of judgment are all thickly covered by tamasic nature, hog-like nature, tamasic nature. So much so, their so-called intelligence or intellectualism or intellectual judgment, this and that, cannot even go beyond their tamasic limitations of thought process. Because that's what they are living with. They are so conditioned by that. They cannot see beyond, feel beyond. They try to judge the transcendental wealth, transcendental things with their limited concepts and hog-like concept and try to criticize, try to judge. So try to purify them in the first place, bring them up, open up their eyes, in a loving, caring way, open up their eyes to see the higher truth in a higher way, to see the higher truth, to feel into, conceive of the higher truths, higher world of higher realities, divine benefits of life, divine gains of life. I'm talking and talking. Still, I don't know when I'm going to finish. See, there you can find many examples of those kind of people. Scientist, some scientist, engineer, doctor became terrorist, Muslim terrorist. What's the value? They are using their intelligence to destroy, to kill the people. What's the use of this kind of mechanical, technical intelligence? Technical knowledge, which is extremely misused to kill the good lives instead of saving, maintaining the lives. We find many evil people, very evil. I mean, they are smart. Apparently they are smart, knowledgeable people, mechanically. Intellectually, many of them are smart, knowledgeable people, but basically they are evil ones. What's the value? Rather, they are threats for the life, for the creation. Cannot be respected with values of knowledge or intelligence. Rather, some simple, stupid people are better than them. Some simple, stupid, foolish people are better than them because at least they don't engage in evil acts, killing other lives, criminal acts. They're just simple, stupid, less intelligent, foolish people. Better than those evil, so-called intelligent evil killers, criminals. So it all depends on proper use and misuse. No, so on the level of nose, faculty of the smelling. From all that connection, all this came. Then taste, function of eyes, ear, nose, smelling, and then taste. Here taste needs to be understood from a broader perspective, not only taste of the tongue, but the taste of the inner heart, sublime taste of the transcending quality, nectarine taste of the supreme, beautiful, divine. Tongue is just one of the aspects, representative aspects of the world of taste. Tongue, more material way, objective way. But taste means taste. More than tongue's taste, mental taste, higher mental taste, spiritual taste, divine taste. So, when we say nectarine, it means it is involved with taste, very much involved with the world of taste. When you say nectarine, relish. So, how to engage tongue in connection, in relation to Krishna? By tasting delicious prasadam. Tasting delicious prasadam offered, delicious bhoga already offered to Krishna. They were tasting delicious prasadam. So Swami Prabhupada often laid special stress on beautiful chanting and singing, and beautiful chanting and singing Krishna's holy name, singing devotional songs, dancing and tasting delicious prasadam to attract the hearts, to make them devotees of Krishna, to attract the hearts of those people and thereby help them to be devotee of Krishna through the taste of prasadam, delicious prasadam. Our Guru Varga also advised us, be presenting delicious devotional songs, delicious dancing in Krishna consciousness, in happiness, delicious prasadam, taste, and thus become Krishna devotee. Cultivate the life of Krishna consciousness, devotion to Krishna. So taste is another whole world. So our tongue has got objective and subjective ability of tasting both ways. Objectively in the form of Krishna prasadam, delicious Krishna prasadam, and subjectively tasting the holy names. Many great devotees, pure devotees, described of their experiences of how at some point in the course of continuous, constant chanting of the holy names of Krishna Radhika, some taste appearing on the tongue. But it is not the taste, it is not the really material taste on the tongue. Some spiritual taste being felt on the tongue. So much so, their tongue cannot stay away from chanting the holy names of the Lord. Objective taste and subjective taste, both they get. Through the sound vibrations produced by the tongue while chanting, during chanting of the holy names, combined with their love of heart, devotion of heart for chanting holy names, or singing love songs. See, singing love songs of Krishna and chanting holy names of Krishna are no separate things, they are not different. They are not different from Krishna himself. So chanting holy names, singing love songs, hearing love, they are not different from each other. So, while tasting delicious Krishna prasadam, sometimes some of the devotees, especially following Ragamarga, they also taste before final cooking of Krishna's bhoga, how it's tasty. But they don't eat it. They don't want to enjoy it before feeding Krishna, offering bhoga to Krishna. Just taste it, spit out. Spitting out. Not to enjoy the taste of that food before offering to Krishna. See how they tasted, how many of the beloved friends, shakas of Krishna first tasted the ripe fruits, first they ate, and by examining, if they found some fruits not so tasty, rejecting. Those which are very tasty, as soon as they bite a little bit and very tasty, putting in the mouth of Krishna. That's their way to select the tastiest fruits for Krishna. So their tongue being utilized to please Krishna, supply very tasty fruits to Krishna to the best. In other words, devotees' shakas' tongues are finding the highest utility, being utilized to the best in the interest of Krishna, to feed him most tasty fruit by tasting first in Ragamarga. We should not do that, but in Ragamarga they have got that qualification because their heart is so filled with love of Krishna, devotion, loving devotion of Krishna. Same we find in case of Sargori and Ramachandra. After patiently waiting for long time, many years, Sargori received the darshan of her beloved Lord Ramachandra in the forest. Ramachandra only came. He came only to give her his darshan upon knowing how long she was longing for having the darshan of her beloved Lord Ramachandra. So, at some point, Ramachandra appeared, came to see Sargori in her thatched room, thatched house in the forest, accompanied by Lakshmana, Sita Devi, Lakshmana, Hanumanji. And as soon as Sargori could see her beloved Lord before her eyes, as soon as she beheld her beautiful beloved Lord before her eyes, she could not believe it. She was not really prepared for that beloved sight, darshan of her beloved Lord. She became simply overwhelmed. At that point, she simply became overwhelmed with joy, almost lost external sense, what to do, what not to do. Almost she was on the verge of losing all external normal sense of what to do, what not to do, how to receive her beloved Lord, how to treat him, how to welcome, receive him. She was lost, divinely lost. She was so divinely lost with all fulfillment. So let me poetically say, she was lost and overwhelmed besides herself. Then at some point, by the gracious power of Lord Rama, she came back to consciousness. In the beginning, she became so overwhelmed, she had a hard time how to receive her beloved Lord. Could not believe him. At some point, she was by the grace of Lord Rama, managed to come back to the normal consciousness, but still filled with overwhelming happiness and joy, maddened with pleasure. Then somehow or other she could place an asana. She could place an asana seat for Ramachandra to sit in her thatched room, thatched house, Parna Kutira, how do you say, thatched house? Made of some mud house, made of forest trees and forest tree branches, with a rooftop made of tree leaves and other stuffs, thatched. So gave Ramachandra, Lakshmana, Sita Maya some seat to sit on. And all of a sudden, she wanted to offer some food. Lord Rama indicated to her, feeling very hungry. You have anything? Can you offer anything for me to eat? Do you have anything for me to eat? And even according to Indian tradition, they first want to offer the delicious food. And Sargori was not prepared. She remembered immediately. She collected, throughout the years, she collected very tasty badari fruit, school of fruit, and dried it in sunlight, like dried fruits, and kept it in longing for, with a great desire, so much yearning and longing, when her beloved Lord Ramachandra will come, offer. She will offer him to eat. Suddenly he remembered. Lord Rama was as Antarjami, as all-knowing Lord. As all-knowing Lord, Ramachandra already knew. And he now wanted to taste those fruits. Accumulated, collected by Shabari with so much care and attention, so much feelings for her beloved Lord Rama. He wanted to taste it now. So, naturally, now Shabari remembered. Maybe Ramachandra indicated, do you have any tasty foods for me to offer to me? She immediately remembered, yes, my Lord, I am gone. Yes. She ran into other parts of her house and found the school of fruits, brought them before Lord Rama. And on some tree leaves, big tree leaves, poured some of those school of fruits, dried fruits. And now she wanted to be very particular. She was very particular about choosing the tastiest fruits out of them to feed Lord Rama. And there was no other way. What she started doing, pour most of the cool fruits, the dried fruits on a big tree leaf, one after another she started tasting those fruits. And she put simply, after tasting, she put aside the less tasty fruits, and the ones very tasty she accumulated on the other side. Then in no time almost, she started putting those half-eaten or semi-eaten fruits inside the mouth of Lord Rama. Okay. At some point it became instant. It simply became instant. She was tasting, not so tasteful, putting aside. As soon as she finds some of the fruits very tasty, immediately putting in the mouth of Lord Rama. Ramachandra was looking at, smiling at her and tasting so much, eating with so much pleasure and taste. Half eaten by Sharbari. And Sharbari means, by caste, she was born in the Shudra family. A low caste, even lower than the Shudra sometimes. Some speak lower than the Shudra, Chandalini. But of course, used to be living Saptik life. As a great devotee of the Lord Rama, used to be living Saptik life. So, she was eating, putting inside the mouth of Lord Rama, and he was eating it with great taste. So much pleasure. But Lakshmana could not, after some time, could not tolerate that. Because apparently Sharbari was looking like not so clean or old. And while she was eating, filled with her saliva, and with her own saliva, putting inside the mouth of who? Lord Rama. And Ramachandra was relishing. Eat that fruit. He was not just relishing, not just tasting the taste of that fruit, delicious fruit. He was actually relishing the loving devotion, tasting the devotion of Sharbari, the intense loving devotion of Sharbari through that school of fruits, through her offering. That was the real taste of Lord Rama. At every bite, Lord Rama, objectively and subjectively, was tasting the love of Sharbari, loving loyalty of the Sarvari in the form through that fruit half eaten. And Lakshmana became a bit disturbed with that sight. He became impatient, very much impatient at some point. My brother, elder brother, Lord Rama eating all those fruits filled with saliva of Sarvari. That Lord Rama looked at Lakshmana and said, don't disturb me now. I am now tasting the love of my devotee. Deeply relishing the love of my devotee. So, like honeybee, see, honeybees collect the flower nectar from the flowers and then they swallow it. After digesting a bit, then they vomit it up. How to say eructation? Eructation, they vomit it up and then they deposit, they save it in the form of honey in their nest. That's how honey comes. Honey is not a direct flower nectar. A flower nectar cooked by the enzymes and digestive juices inside the stomach of the honeybees, and then it comes up. That becomes honey. Here, similar ways, Ramachandra was releasing the tasty fruit while eaten by his great, one of the best beloved devotees as Sarvari. As if the taste of that delicious fruit became double, triple, multiplied by the eating with the touch of the saliva of the Sarvari, like honeybees do. Okay, becomes even tastier to Lord Rama. Lakshmana could not tolerate because he never saw that. To a great surprise, Lakshmana was seeing, never saw. My brother Emperor Ramachandra eating half-eaten fruit. Ramachandra gave a looks to him, kind of, don't disturb me. I am now tasting the love of my devotee along with the delicious fruit. Taste. So, our sense. One of the senses of our tongue, which brings the experience of taste, also can be so much utilized in connection with Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. So, tongue can be utilized in Krishna consciousness. How? I summarize it by tasting delicious bhoga of Krishna, prasadam of Krishna, chanting delicious names of Krishna, singing, because during the singing our tongue also utilized to sing the devotional songs of Krishna. Okay, so mystically one can also feel some taste on the tongue while tongue is engaged in singing love songs for Krishna. It can mystically happen. হৃদয় হইতে বলে জিহ্বার অগ্রিতে চলে শব্দরূপে নাচে অনুক্ষণ. Bhaktivinoda Thakur described of his experience about the taste of the holy names, how it appears dancingly on the tongue at some point. Inundating the whole existence with so much taste, and that taste also dancing in the form of sound, holy sound vibrations on the tongue. And while we engage our tongue to pronounce, to be singing the glories, narrating the glories of Krishna, right now I am doing, any narrator of glories of Krishna does, that is also great utility of this sense, tongue. Because at that time tongue is also utilized to spread the taste of Krishna consciousness through sound vibrations, through its expression. Okay, it's creating the taste in the mind and heart of the audience. So tongue is greatly utilized, not only for tasting Krishna Prasad, to narrate the glories of Krishna, thereby spreading some taste of Krishna Katha to others. So I am explaining the conception of the taste from a broader perspective, all-round perspective. It's not a perspective, it's a world. So, Chakhu, Karno, Nashika, Jihova, and then Tok. Lastly, Tok means function of the touching. In the Vaishnava Padavali, so beautifully, so meaningfully and beautifully, excellently expressed the realities, the ambrosial, overwhelming experience in close contact, intimate contact with Krishna. Saying, expressing, like Chandidasa, Vidyapati, they are expressing on behalf, representing the mood of Srimati Radhika, Brajagopis. Just by catching a glimpse of the sight of Krishna, just by hearing the names of Krishna, catching a glimpse of the sight of Krishna, seeing the beauty of Krishna, if our body, mind, heart becomes so much overwhelmed, attracted, then what will happen to us when we touch Krishna? When we touch the divine body of Krishna, what will happen to us? We cannot imagine of that. What kind of overwhelming joy, nectarine taste and bliss we will be receiving if we embrace Krishna, touching his divine form, body. See, expressing. They are wondering, infinitely wondering. If only merely seeing, looking at Krishna, simply catching a short sight of Krishna beauty, seeing Krishna's beauty, or hearing the name of Krishna can overwhelm us, can madden us. So much love feelings and ecstatic love. Then what more will happen if we touch him? Angir parashiki bahoy. In this way. Of course, world of touch can be utilized in Krishna consciousness in various ways. Okay. With 2 hands, we can do so much services. We can be offering so much services to Krishna Radhika with 2 hands. We can be 2 hands. And these are all in connecting to touching function. Okay. We are decorating, or embellishing, decorating beautiful Radha Krishna deities with the hands by touching them. Okay. We are cooking delicious bhoga for Krishna with the hands. While we are using our hands to create beautiful flower garlands for Krishna, we are plucking flowers, picking up flowers and making garland for Krishna. Wiping Krishna's place, mandira, cleaning Krishna's mandira, See, Ambarish Maharaja, he actually engaged all his senses. He was the most ideal example, epitome of example of how to engage all senses fully in the loving service of Krishna, Ambarish Maharaja. So, while we are serving the lotus feet of Krishna, massaging lotus feet of Krishna, or massaging divine form of Krishna, even in the deity form, or in my mind and heart, through meditation, it comes within the world of touch, massaging, touching him to soothe him, massage him, kissing him, even in the deity form. And touching, I found a small boy embracing, hugging Krishna's picture. So attached, feeling the touch, although it's a portrait, but so loving to Krishna, attached. Touch, feeling so much taste by even holding, embracing Krishna's portrait. So, we receive some wonderful services on certain seasons, like Chandana Jatra, Rasa Jatra, to be specially decorating the deities of Krishna with Chandana, special flower garland, while dressing them, touching the deity's form of Krishna. And if we feel into, Krishna is everywhere. Deity is also specific. It is some special manifesting aspect of universal form of the Lord. There are 5 kinds of manifestations on this plane, mundane plane, described by the scriptures. 5 types of, so Archa manifestation is one of them. Archa means deity form of the manifestation. After deity gets installed, okay, according to the proper, following all the proper rituals, respectable rituals, with mantrams and hymns and yajna, when after the deity gets installed, it no more remains as idol. That no more remains just some idol. It becomes deity. Living, at least living symbol. So, that's how the devotees relate to the deity form of the Lord more than the external aspect of the form. Stone aspect, wood aspect, metal aspect. The devotee relates, the way a devotee relates to the deity much more than the material objective aspect of the deities. So while they touch the deities, they're touching the lotus feet of deity, decorating the deities, massaging the deity's body, okay, many ways they're feeling the touch, as if they're touching certain form of the Lord in the deity form. They have such feelings. On the higher level, there's no more just deity. Supreme Lord manifests in that. Supreme Lord manifests for them. Like when electricity is passing through the wire, there's no more just only ordinary wire. There's a great deal of difference between ordinary wire and the electrified wire. So, to the pure devotees, deities of the Supreme Lord, different deities of the Supreme Lord, like electrified wire. Spiritually. These examples are limited, but you can get some idea. Although some limited mundane examples, you can get some idea. So deities in the eyes to the pure devotees, not just deities made of stone or metal or wood or looking in a certain form, much more than that. Okay, so function of the touch. And the great pure devotees also embrace Krishna in their Atma, in the core of their heart, with so much ecstatic love, real embracing. Subjectively, objective embrace. Subjectively, objective embrace is that. In the depth of pure devotional love meditation, devotees can actually embrace Krishna. Krishna's associates, beloved associates, very close intimately to their heart. And it's actual embrace, not like sentimental, emotional, imaginary embrace. That's why I'm saying subjectively objective. When I'm saying subjectively objective, I mean something. It's a reality not only of subjective character, but also subjectively objective character, very tangible, really real. You don't feel that embrace not only through emotion, loving emotion, but in a realistic, objective manner also. Both become unified together. Both are united together, making it full-fledged, full-swing embracing. Holistic embracing by the touch, through the path, to the ways of touching, closely, intimately touching Krishna, Krishna's divine form. And embracing Krishna's divine form means embracing Krishna's divine beauty, qualities, his musical flute music, his leela, playfulness, playful leela, and the individual and collective personal love relationships. Blissful love relations with Krishna in a reciprocative way, embracing all of them. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Parikar, Vaishishta, embracing Krishna in all these forms, all these ways. Wonderfully wonderful. Wonderfully wonderful. Majestically wonderful. Beautifully wonderful. Wonderfully beautiful and glorious. And ultimately beyond the words. Expressing the nature of Krishna's glory, Krishna's beauty and everything. Krishna's beauty, glory, qualities, taste, everything. Association, everything. It's beyond the language, beyond the words. Expressed beyond the words. To be ambrosially realized. Ambrosially realized. I humbly remain here. So I could cover about how to engage five senses in Krishna consciousness. Starting from sight, audition, hearing, smell, taste, touch. Everything remain. Starting from sight, chakru karna, sight, hearing, smelling, taste and touch. Touching functions. That's how we can be worshipping our Rishikesha, back to the point. The beloved Lord of all our senses and sensibilities. We can engage in worshipping Him, connect with Him with such love taste. We can be connecting with Him, deeply connecting with Him with so much taste by utilizing all our senses. So the name Rishikesha is very meaningful. Name of the Supreme Lord as Rishikesha, very meaningful. Very wide, very meaningful, to engage us whole self, fully, to relate to Him, to worship Him, throughout all our senses, all through our sensibilities, all through our perceptions, holistically. See. When the function of all the perceptions come together, eye perception, ear perception, nose perception, tongue perception, touch perception, all they come together, unified together, and it creates the holistic definition, holistic view, truth of the taste of the Lord, of the conception of the Supreme Divine. Because all are complementing and supplementing each other. Chakhu karno nashika jihva tak. Our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and even beyond that, all are coming together, getting harmoniously united, working for the organic whole, working for the perfect, holistic truth, holistic divine truth, to connect with the divine truth in full swing, full scale, full-fledged ways. No lacking. See, that's how the Supreme Creator actually enabled ability of our perception, not only objectively but also subjectively, empowered it, that when all the faculties, all the functions of our perception come together, all the functions of our sense experience come together in unison, in harmonious cooperation, coordination. How to say? Unity. Then they work wonderful. They give us the best experience. They give us a full-scale experience. And when we can engage all our senses to relate to the Supreme Divine, to connect to the Supreme Divine, with yearning to be perceiving Him objectively and subjectively, divinely, then it works very wonderful way. The ability of our perception finds the best utility, brings the best gain in our life in relation to the Lord of all senses, Rishikesha. Then we can become a great ideal loving servitor to the Supreme Divine, beloved Lord. Giving whole self, dedicating holistically, as much as possible for us. All right. Humbly remain here. Hare Krishna.